Hello there. Happy Friday. Positive mental energy. We're on location. The set is a little bit different this time because we're doing the album tomorrow. We just done a festival in Sweden. We just come back. It was fucking brilliant. The band were fantastic. Really, really positive vibes. Posy vibes. Fucking buzzing on them. And then tomorrow we're in there, boom, with the drums. Oh, it's going to be great. So yeah, this is the environment for this one. And I'm going to jump in there with both feet and ask a question. Oh, I must thank Mimi Olsen. I got back yesterday and this t-shirt was waiting for me. It's a Whale t-shirt. I love the band Whale. And from a 98, was it 98 tour? Well, it's a tour t-shirt and the lovely Mimi Olsen sent it to me. So thank you so much. I fucking love it. My new favourite t-shirt. Right, so kicking off today from Sean, who says, if you could put your own festival, here we go, put your own festival together where it be held, who would be the acts you would like to see? You've played loads of different guitars over the years. Do you prefer a specific type, configuration, or pickup? Right, the festival. Well, we're going to try and put a festival together next year, and I want it to be all northern bands. I can't say who yet because we're going to be finalising that with official people. But festival, where would it be? Well, there you go. There's the answer. It would be in the north. It would be celebrating northern spirit, and, you know, the north will rise again. And it's going to be gorgeous. And I can't tell you what bands are on yet. Lots of guitars. What do you prefer? I gotta say, after all these years, a Gibson Les Paul. It's just me and him just get on with. If it's a good Les Paul, I've played some dog shit Les Pauls in the years. Believe you me, they're not all fucking what they're cracked up to be. But when you get a good one, producer Phil found me my current one, which is a 77 or 78 Tobacco Sunburst, about 78. Back when they made them with wood. Oh, it's like butter. It's beautiful. I do love BC Rich guitars, and it's just because, you know, Aerosmith. I blame Aerosmith. I blame Joe Perry. You know, just that when the first time I saw a BC Rich bitch, and I was just like, that's talking to me loud and clear. So I love me BC Riches, but, you know, if I use a guitar for studio and live, it would always be a really good Gibson Les Paul. Although I do have a beautiful Yamaha SG that I also covered, both of which are going to be featuring predominantly on the new Wild Hearts album. Matt Evans asks, hi Ginger, ever thought about releasing a coffee called Caffeine Bomb? I'd buy it. We did. We tried. We had the coffee. It used to go up to strength 5, and now it goes to strength 6. I think what was 5 is now 6. I think ours was 7 or 8 or something. It was a motherfucker of a coffee, and it was going to come in an embossed Caffeine Bomb coffee tin, with the cover of Caffeine Bomb, so you could like feel it, you know. And the last moment, it kind of just went off the boil, and I kind of regret that because I like doing stuff that I use. And obviously, a good strong coffee is always going to be welcome. So I still would like to do that. But a Caffeine Bomb, as you all probably know, isn't just coffee. It's coffee and Jack Daniels and lots of sugar. And the sugar gets the Jack Daniels into your bloodstream really quick, and the coffee gives you a kick up. And that's a Caffeine Bomb. So there you go. Yes, the answer is. Sam asks, how was the festival this weekend? Are you playing any more in this country? Bone of contention moment here. No, we're not. We're not playing fucking anything in this country. We haven't got any gigs booked. We're going to rectify that though, and by the end of this year, we are going to be on the road. And I know I said I wanted to do something intimate, but you know what? In my heart, in my gut, in my stomach, in my groin, I want it loud. I want to go out there and I want to fucking destroy some venues. So I think we're going to book a nice little, well not little, but a medium-sized electric tour for the end of the year. And that's going to be fucking great. But no more festivals. Apart from Steelhouse, obviously. We're playing Steelhouse on the 25th of July, I believe, which is 2 days after we finish the album. We finish the album, we do the warm-up for the Steelhouse gig in a place called Holmfirth, and then we do Steelhouse. That's going to be such a fucking celebration. Some of the shit we've been getting through. I just find myself now at a point where there's just loads of tests, loads of challenges, and I fucking like a good challenge. Oh, I've got producer Taylor here. He's set me up here. Hello, Taylor.
Hello.
I like a challenge, and I've been getting a lot of challenges. And the thing is with challenges, when you rise to the occasion, more come. And you're getting to that point where I'm in the fray. Keep them coming. Keep me busy. And I'm just fucking dealing with negativity with so much positivity. The band being in Sweden, getting a hangout, just, hanging out after the show. Just us shooting shit, sitting on the road like you did when you were kids, and just feeling this real massive positive energy that I kind of get away from. It's fucking consuming me, I tell you, consuming. I love it. I love it. So yeah, really, really going through a lot right now and fucking loving it. Rubber John says, I have a couple of versions of Church of the Brokenhearted. The Silver Ginger version, the Snake vocal, fucking hell, the demo. By far my favourite version is what I believe was an old demo. However, I can't work out who's singing vocals on it. Didn't sound like anyone familiar. Any ideas? Yeah, me. It doesn't sound much like me. A, because I was younger. And B, because I couldn't hit the notes. I had no range when I started. I used to just shout and go, oh, well, that's as high as I can shout. That's me range. And I didn't know what I was doing. And I did a demo at Church of the Brokenhearted when me and the Choirboys departed. Oh, I got to see the Choirboys this weekend. That was fucking hilarious. Oh my God, what a meta moment. Watching the Choirboys and Carol's filming me, watching my old band. Brilliant. Yeah. It was me singing on that original one that you heard, but it was just to get me doing something. I didn't have a band, didn't have anything to do. So I did these demos, and there was a clause in the contract that said, the leaving member clause, which we mentioned in Slaughtered Authors. If you have any music, they have first dibs. So I just went in, did this demo, and just went in there and said, this is me. But I couldn't hit the notes, so I speeded it up, so it didn't sound a lot like me. And we got a deal straight away. On the strength of that one song, we got a deal, and the Wild Hearts went in the studio. Bizarre times. But yeah, that is me singing on that original. That was funny. I haven't heard that for fucking years. I'd love to hear that. Someone send me a copy of that or a link on Twitter or here. Please. There was 3 songs. I remember there was 3 songs there, and Willie Dowland produced it. There you go. It's a nice little fucking convenient sync there. Ad Braley, a question or two about singing and your voice. What tips, pre-show rituals do you have, if any, to keep your voice healthy? And how do you find your original singing voice? I know it's changed from non-Geordie to Geordie recently. Is it easier to sing now, or do you think it was easier to sing in the early days? Right, I could take my glasses off of this one because it's a bit of a biggie. I did my finding my singing voice in front of people. We couldn't find a singer. Got this deal, like I just said. We were playing live, and I was just learning to sing in front of people. So I was effectively awful in front of people for a very long time. I didn't know what you were supposed to sing. I never wanted to be a singer. So I just figured I'll copy off Jake Burns from Stiff Little Fingers, Steve Albini from Big Black, and Robin Zander from Cheap Trick. And that was my 3 kind of go-to. So there was I didn't have my voice, my accent. I didn't have any personality. I was just trying to figure out as I went along. I lost my voice once, and this wonderful woman who sang, Yolanda Quarty, and she sang on Petty Moore from the Gas sessions. Amazing woman, amazing voice, and she gave me some great advice. She said, don't forget your inner hooligan. I mean, what the fuck is that? Well, if you think about it, babies and hooligans never lose their voice. So whatever voice you've got that comes out loud and strong, use that one. And I'd lost my voice, and the only way I could do, what was the song? It was That's a Nasty Habit You've Got There from the Gas sessions, was just shout it in a Geordie accent, and it worked. And since then, and as my confidence has been building, I tend to sing in my own voice more than I used to. So I think it's just a case of not wanting to just sing in a Geordie accent, but finding myself through the medium of singing. And it's been a weird journey because I still hate singing, but I've gotten into it, and I'm kind of good at it. Warming up, I'm the wrong person to ask about warming up because I never, ever, ever warm up to play a gig, and I never warm up to go in the studio. So the first vocal takes I do in the studio are always absolutely shit. So I've been doing warm-ups, and my idea of warm-up is I just sing songs that I know are out my range, and I push myself to sing higher notes. Let the voice break, come back brighter, break again. I've been singing quite a bit, Walking Maggie, and singing the demos of the new songs we're going to record. And Yeah, I think my voice is good. I tested it on stage in Sweden, and it lasted really well. I'm happy with my voice when it's happy, but I'm just not when it is. I haven't got the need for adoration that makes a great frontman. I think that's my thing. I also think within that I've developed something that people like, and I'm still working. Whereas I've known some amazing singers who can't get work. They're not even making music anymore. So whatever it is I've got, whatever it is I've been through, and wherever it is I've ended up right now, it's working for me thanks to you lot. Yeah, I think I'm just not a traditional singer. Long may it last. Orange Tire asks, funnily enough, I was first introduced to you by seeing you interview Ace Frehley. Oh, that was awful, wasn't it? For the Rock and Roll Geek Show. I was wondering if you had any memories of this encounter, how you wound up doing the interview in the first place, and have you spoken to your thoughts on Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley before? What are your thoughts on Ace? I hated doing it. I was roped in. Do you want to meet Ace Frehley? Of course I do. Okay, do you want to do an interview with him? Well, I'm here now. I might as well. So we got a load of questions from people. And one of the questions, I don't even want to repeat it, but it was horrible. And I wasn't even thinking, and I had jet lag, and I just came up asking all these questions, and it was horrible. It was horrible. Really cringe. Really cringe. If you want to see me look as fucking cringe as possible, go and check it out on YouTube. Now, have I spoken about your thoughts on Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley before? To you? Spoken about them to you? I don't think so. I think when I was a kid, I loved Kiss, but it was before I got learned to play the guitar. I hadn't heard a lot of different bands. I went kind of straight from Sweet and Slade to Kiss, and it was still just entertainment, like ooh, loud, colourful, wild. And so Gene Simmons was obviously the fucking monster, so good. Back in his day, Gene Simmons was a fucking absolute beast and such an icon. When you think that Gene Simmons was arguably the most famous face in America at one point, but he kind of invented that whole thing for him. Absolute total kudos. Paul Stanley, in his day, was just the best frontman in the world, and there's no denying it. He looked amazing. His voice was great. Fucking brilliant on stage. His stage banter, I could give and take, but he was great when they were hungry, when they were young, when they were doing it for the music. When then they started doing it for the money, and then these other personalities came in. And it was almost like Paul Stanley lost his sense of humour, because in the 70s, you watch any interview with Kiss from the 70s, and Paul Stanley's funny, And Gene Simmons is evil, and that was great. And then Gene Simmons just turned into this sex pest that rubbed, me the wrong way, not literally, figuratively. And all he talked about was getting women. I mean, Christ almighty, I was in a band, I could get women, You're in a band, you get women. Guitars do that if you want. And Paul Stanley's just start getting weird and bitter. And now when I hear him slagging off people from the group, it really winds me up, because he is nothing without the band Kiss. And I really do think he needs to appreciate that. Whatever his opinions of the people in the band that he fell out with, obviously he has negative opinions, but you don't have to air them all the time, Paul, because it turns you into a negative person. So yeah, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, they're both. I've met them both when I was a kid, when I was still kind of a fan. Both easily the most disappointing people I'd ever met in music, just because of the ego. And it was weird. It's like I'd met Lemi, and Lemi was this giant on stage, and this really humble, funny, this manner about him that just struck me as being, that's what rock gods are like. Kiss were like their personalities on stage, off stage. They really did believe that they were all that, because they were making money, getting girls, living the lifestyle, but they didn't get the punchline. They didn't realise that they're fucking entertainers. And so when I met them both, they were both behaving in such a rude, weird, ever so weird. I didn't take to them at all. And I find Gene Simmons fascinating, but he just keeps putting his foot in it. And he said too many horrible things, especially when Robin Williams died. He said some stuff there that is just beyond what I can stomach from a person when it comes to depression and its effect on other people. Not really my thing. What do I think about Ace? Ace is funny. Ace is like Danny. He's just like one of these guys that he's just trying his best. He's got his demons, and he's a bit of a victim in certain ways of them. But he's still got that Ace thing. He's still got that funny laugh. And he's still Ace. He's still one of the only guitar players that you can whistle the solos. And as a kid, you can learn the solos, which again, I didn't get into Rush because I was no way I was going to be able to learn those, but I could learn Ace Frehley's stuff. Very important. And then Ramones came next, and that was like, I can learn all these songs. And that was a good one. But yeah, I like Ace Frehley. He's at heart a good guy with problems like we all have. And he's still here and he's still a legend. I've listened to Greetings from Shitsville, says Abel Manmoth. Abel Manmoth. Abel Manmoth. One of them's got to be right. I've listened to Greetings from Shitsville on cassette, tape, vinyl, CD, MP3, FLAC, and everywhere else, but I still can't hear the saxophone part. Is it playing the main riff, or am I missing something? Also, when do you know when certain instruments suit certain tracks? I'll answer the first part. First, the saxophone part. We had Sarah Smith from Cardiacs, you probably know that, came down and realised that we just went, go in there and just jam, and we'll just keep all the stuff. And she was like, well, I don't really jam. Tell me what you want me to play. And I was like, I hadn't even thought. So I said, well, can you just go, no, 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 no. He goes, while we stay here, God only knows, it's not the scenery. No, 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 no. The sax is there. And, it was played good enough, but not it didn't really stand out enough to make it a real big feature. So it's in there somewhere. And that pleased us as Cardiac fanboys. The second one, for certain instruments, certain songs, when I write, I hear the song finished. In my head, I hear the production. And so it goes from, okay, well, you start by going down and making a little acoustic demo, and you're chipping away all the processes until it gets to that final thing where you've got the produced thing. But I can hear that produced thing in my head. And I've always been like that. So if there's an instrument on there that serves the song, it's because it was in there probably before the lyrics came. Oh, that'd be nice for that song. And it's always been the same. I think about music in like 3D. Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I hear music completed, and I still do. I'm getting new songs now coming in for the album after the one that we're going to record next week, and they're all finished. It's a funny world being me. Ian says, if it don't splatter, it don't matter. That's a t-shirt right there, mate. Fucking awesome. Yeah, you're right. If it don't splatter, it don't matter. But there's not really splatter movies anymore, is there? I wish there was. We talked about this on the podcast before, but I wish people would just go back to making pointlessly gory films with nothing else really going on. And that's what I mean by if it don't splatter, it don't matter. I don't want plots. I don't want subplots. I don't want interesting characters. I don't want even victims I can identify with. I just want an indiscriminate mad person slashing people in various ways. And I don't want them all killed in the same way, Get fucking inventive. That's what I like. And this is another one from Ian. Is it the same Ian or is it a different Ian? I presume it's the same Ian. One of the most underrated bands, in my opinion, is Half Man, Half Biscuit. Been a fan since the 80s, still doing great albums and on their terms. Are you a fan, Ginger? Fuck yeah. I love Half Man, Half Biscuit. I was lucky enough to get to know them kind of for some reason. I've got to know Nigel a little bit just online from emails, but we've talked to each other and let each other know that we like what each other do, which is still never gets boring. When you can like a band and tell the person who's the head of the band like what it means to you. I love that. But lyrically, I think they've inspired me more than any band I can think of from this country. Just because his lyrics are always thoughtful and funny. Always funny. And my favourite lyric, which I think was my gateway drug to them, because I got into them late. I wasn't really into them. I wasn't aware of them earlier on. And I think Chris Catalyst told me, oh, you got to listen to Actung Bono. And there's a song on there, what is it? I can't remember what the song is called, but there's a brilliant lyric on there that says, is your child hyperactive or is he perhaps a twat? And when I heard that, I was just like, that's me, top to bottom, right from that angle to that angle, right over there. That's completely me. And then since then, been finding so much joy from, rifling through. One of those bands where you listen and fucking, well, they don't always put the lyrics on, but I listen to the words. I want to digest those words. And he's one of the best lyricists Britain's ever produced. Definitely one of the funniest. So I absolutely love Half Man, Half Biscuit, and I'm trying to think of my favourite album. Probably Actung Bono, because it's just banger after banger. Funny, Funny as fuck. So yeah, check that one out. Tobias Freely. There you go. We're back on the fucking thing. Where did the Lemmy stained glass painting come from? I don't know. I played a venue ages ago and they had a collection of these stained glass. There was a Jim Morrison one, a Lemmy one, and a Kurt Cobain one. And it, took photos of them and I don't figured it was a local artist. And just couldn't get it out of my head. I'm one of these people that if I can imagine it, I will find it online. And I'm good at that. And so I wanted a Lemmy stained glass painting. It took a long time, but I found someone who was doing prints, proper prints as well, of this Lemmy painting. And it's one of my favourite things in the world because he's captured Lemmy's likeness as well. It's not just a great painting, but he really has captured Lemmy's character in there. But yeah, it's all there. When people say, no, where do you get t-shirts from? Where do you get guitars from? Man, it's all there. Just get online and make a cup of tea. Get stuck in. I love doing stuff like that. Peter MacDonald. Buzzing. I'm buzzing with positivity today. I'm so excited about this album. But we're going to probably let you hear some little bits and pieces from the album as it's getting recorded. So you're not going to feel too uninvolved. Peter MacDonald asks, I was wondering what your opinion is on Iron Maiden, Thin Lizzy and Status Quo. I know you covered Dirty Water, but I've never heard you mention any of these other bands. Right, okay. Iron Maiden, I think, are a fantastic group, but it's just not for me. I don't know what it is, but there's something about it. Whether it's the guitar parts, whether it's the rhythms, whether it's the vocals, the foghorn vocals. It's just not for me. Same as Judas Priest. Intrinsically, I'm into Judas Priest. I just don't like what they sound like. Fucking makes sense. You can appreciate a band and realise it's not for you. It's not music made for you. But I always felt the same with Maiden, and I think, and I will die on this hill. I think it's because it's just not very sexy, and that's one of the things I hate about heavy metal. Dislike about heavy metal, or why it's not for me. It's got no sexual thing, and the only sexual angle that I used to get was a misogynistic one, where it was being sexually a bit bullying. So I was never into that. Being brought up around a lot of domestic violence, you wouldn't be. But obviously Judas Priest now, I look back at that, I'll go back and listen to their songs and realise that, like, they're not about girls, are they? They're about men. And that makes it much more interesting. I like heavy metal when there's gay people singing. And again, I don't know why that is, but bands like Torch, there's another one that's got a gay singer. I can't remember who it is. But yeah. I don't know why it appeals to me, but there's something about there's maybe a vulnerability there that's not there when the guy's on his, Harley Davidson steed with the bitch on the back. It's not really the same kind of thing. I love Thin Lizzy, the Jailbreak album, cowboy song, and the twin leads. Again, what is the difference between Thin Lizzy's twin leads and Iron Maiden's twin leads? For some reason, I think Thin Lizzy's twin leads appeal to women. I know it's a weird one, but I like the idea that it crosses the boundaries between men and women and what they like music for. Obviously, being a heterosexual male, if there's women in the crowd, there's men in the crowd. That's the thing. I always wanted that from the Wild Hearts, and it's a funny one. I don't know if I've told you this one before, but I was going to be managed by Rod Smallwood at one point, around about the Silver Ginger 5 time. And he had me in his office. Rod Smallwood is Iron Maiden's manager. And he had me in his office, and there's a huge picture of Iron Maiden. They're doing the thing where they've got the backs to the crowd, taking a picture. And this crowd, I don't know where it is, probably South America somewhere, but it's vast. It's just a sea of fucking crazed Iron Maiden fans. Brilliant, brilliant picture. And he said, Ginger, that could be yours one day. And I looked at his picture, and I was like, there's not a single female. And that entire crowd, there must be 100,000 people in this crowd, and there's not one single female. And I turned around to him and I went, I don't want that. I'd rather play to 500 people as long as it was mixed. And it's true. The idea of playing in front of, just boys never appealed to me. Again, personal preference. Status Quo, I fucking love. Talk about sexy, They took off all their sexy clothes, put on their fucking work clothes, and just got 100% sexier. And they had Rick Parfitt, obviously. But there's something very sexually charged about Status Quo's music, and that really appealed to me. So yeah, Thin Lizzy, Status Quo, sexy as fuck, Iron Maiden, not so much. James Young says, hi Ginger, hi James. Your time in and subsequent departure from the Choirboys, I love it, has been well documented over time, but one question I've always pondered on is, what did you write or co-write on the first album, a little bit of what you fancy, and which ones? This is a good one. This is a good one. I wrote nothing. I wrote nothing. I joined the Choirboys and I had fucking tons of songs, and they wouldn't listen to any of them. And I was like, well, why won't you just let me play you a couple? No. We just want to write the best song. Basically, they just didn't believe that I could write songs. I was about to say fair play, but yeah, it's not. I always find out if people can write songs by making them write songs. But they were under this impression that they wanted the first album to be as good as it could possibly be and not have me ruin it with my songs, which they never heard one of. I don't even remember what songs I had at the time now, but there was a lot of them, and they were reasonably good songs, in my opinion, as good as theirs. But I wrote nothing because they absolutely didn't want me to. But I was just a bad fit for that band because they didn't like my guitar sound. They didn't like the music that I listened to. I had a crazy period where I was into Metallica and The Clash, I think. Neither of which were going to feature very favourably in the Choirboys sound. And they didn't want the guitars to be heavy. They wanted the guitars to sound like they were recorded in 1973, which for me, with the advent of punk and all the rest of it, why would you want to sound like stuff before things got exciting? I couldn't wrap my personal little hairy head around that. But they didn't. It was a bad fit. So I guess they probably thought I was going to write songs that sounded like Master of Puppets. But it didn't, because I was still am a huge Jason and the Scorchers fan, and all I would have done was write them some rockers. And I always thought the Choirboys never had enough good rockers. I consider they made a bad error of judgment there. Kenny B says, regarding the Gory Sleepaway video, I'm going to take a shot in the dark and guess that was your idea. But old school, what was the brief? Old school physical gore? Was I involved in the story or editing? Is this the kind of gig where the filmmakers prefer the band not looking over their shoulders as there's no performance element involved? Well, that's very true. But I wasn't involved at all in that. It was given to me, I think our manager at the time, I'm trying to think of the name. I can't remember his name. But our manager at the time, I think, wanted to please me. So he said, we're going to make a gory video. It's going to be really gory. And I'm like, okay, I'm in. And I talked to the people that were making it, and I gave them a load of ideas of independent gore and independent effects people that I thought were incredible. Doing stuff with computer graphics, but you really couldn't tell where the computer graphics came in and where the dummy head ended. Amazing. And all the independent filmmakers, some of the tiny budgets, so we could do it on the budget we had. And I'm not sure that they even looked at these bits, but the end result, I think they were going for as gory as they could possibly make it, but nowhere near as gory as I wanted to make it. I wanted to make that thing fucking happen, splatter, and it wasn't. It was kind of cartoony. I didn't really agree or not. I wasn't really that involved. I was just like, yeah, sounds like a good idea. Really just wasn't into the band at the time, to be honest. I didn't want to be there. But yeah, I was like, oh, but a gory video, I'm in. And he kept saying, yeah, it's great. We got so much blood. And I watched it and I'm like, that's not gory. That's what people think gory is. It's a bit like when I've worked with people in the studio who think they know what a distorted guitar sounds like and they just put it through a fuzz pedal. And you're like, that's not distorted. That's fizzy. But if you don't like a genre, you're not going to really know when you've mastered it. And I don't think gore was their genre. I'm sure that those people, fantastic filmmakers, would have been better off doing something that they felt comfortable in and could tell that they'd done a good job. But I don't think that video was very effective. It was fun. I watched it once. Things I don't like videos. I'm not a big fan of videos. I think they look a bit cringe. So I watched it once and went, yep, that's all right. And then people were going, it's so gory. It's not, is it? It's not really. It's just a couple of little, the rubber arm gets chopped off. In a comical way as well. Not a big fan. If you know me, you'll know that I don't like comedy horror, unless it's Toxic Avenger, which is one of the only films that gets it right. And I guess American Werewolf in London also gets it right. But yeah, Greg Richardson says, your love for Sparks is no secret. Certainly not. Thanks for nudging me in their direction a good while back through your recommendation of Kimono My House. Yeah, definitely good gateway drug. that one. Despite 50 years of output, they're still producing quality, interesting albums. However, Ron has said it keeps getting harder to do so. How much is their longevity and inspiration to you, and how you keep everything fresh, not repeating yourself with the output of your material, valor, and never-ending riffs? Well, Greg, they're probably my biggest inspiration because of their longevity, and not always because of the quality of music. Like I say, I've said this a few times, if I'm a fan of the band, I like the fact that they make music that I occasionally don't like. It's part of the deal, they're making the music for themselves. But Sparks' longevity and the fact that they still have this just beautiful, pure oddness. They've never fit in, and they still don't fit in, and they still manage to be odd in an ever weirding world. They're fucking amazing. And just when I hear there's a new Sparks album, I'm just like, still fucking plugged into the mains. Well, I'm going to give you a new album as well. If Sparks stopped making music, I'm sure it wouldn't stop me making music, but make it a bit less fun. Be a bit like it's all on me. I like the inspiration that Sparks still give me after all these years. They just kick my arse into action. Always have done. Always will do. One day they won't be there anymore, and it'll be a fucking terrible day. But, I lived without the presence of David Bowie and Lemmy, so I'd be all right. But I do love Sparks being around. I love Sparks like most people love their mom. And I love my mom as well, like most people love their mom. 3 questions from Neil next. Did you have an album or albums that you listened to growing up that you learned every song so you could play it along from start to finish? Could you still do it now? Yeah, I think we just touched on this one. Ramones. I learned It's Alive back to front. Wasn't it learning It's Alive? Because I knew the songs and I knew the chords. So I've always been able to go, give me the first chord, what key's it in? And then I can pretty much figure out what's going on. But the first time that I was able to do that with someone else's music was Ramones, because yeah, it's very similar chords, but it's still hard. It ain't blues. It ain't just the same 3 chords, even though they say it's 3 chords. It's not. It's way harder to learn Ramones songs, equally hard to play them. And it taught me a lot about downstrokes. For the first albums I used to play along with was It's Alive by Ramones, just because, I could have picked any album, but that one was better because it was slightly faster. So I got them fucking that wrist action in, and that's fucking hard to do, man. But if you're a budding rhythm guitarist and you've got no interest in playing lead, why don't you become a brilliant rhythm guitarist? And at which point you can't go wrong with Ramones and AC/DC. And I used to play along to AC/DC If You Want Blood because I wanted to be Malcolm Young as well. So they're the albums that I played along to. Neil also asks, it was Neil, wasn't it? Yeah. Neil also asks, are there any songs that you've written that you like to play on your own? Just picking up a guitar and playing them? No, none, never. I never have ever sat down and played one of my songs. I'm reading an autobiography by a musician. I won't tell you what it is because it's fucking shit. But he always talks about he'd be in a house and he'd see acoustic and he'd go and he'd play one of his band's songs. I've never ever done that. I think I did it once to impress a girl and it worked. But it's just the idea of sitting down and playing the guitar anyway. I never sit down and play the guitar. But if I'm going to sit down and sing something, it'll be a new song of mine. Or if it's a song I'm obsessed with and just even like listening to it when I'm singing it. I think the last one of that was Losing True by Roaches. I just loved singing that song. But for the most part, never, ever. Very few people have heard me sitting down singing and playing guitar. That's why acoustic gigs are weird for me, because it really does takes more out of me doing an acoustic gig than it does an electric gig, if that makes any sense. And Neil's third question is, have you written any songs or riffs that really make you smile when you play them, either due to the memory or the melody that is involved? Yeah, loads. Loads. A lot of lyrics, a lot of funny little lyrics, again from Sparks mainly, but little rhyming couplets that really work rhythmically and really work rhyme-wise, but I still managed to put a funny little entendre in there. But mainly riffs. When you're on stage and you're playing riffs and you played a lot of my riffs with a lot of different musicians, and sometimes they're better than others. Invariably good, but sometimes deadly. And I was thinking this just the other day when we were playing on stage in Sweden. There's a riff at the end of Everlong. I play at Everlong with quite a lot of drummers now. There's the band and the drummer. It goes diddle-diddle-diddle, diddle-diddle-diddle, and there's got that little gap. I've never played it with a band who are so tight that we hear that gap, and that fucking gets me such a chubby because I know what's happening out there. I know that's doing to the sound. What it is, you got all that volume, and then you have that little gap that's just a second, not even a split second big, but the volume stops and everyone's ears kind of open up again, and then they pound it again, almost like, harder than the last time. So every time you get that gap, the next one comes in so much harder. And that's just testament to how tight the group are that we can do that. But there's loads of riffs like that. Every time we play Chutzpah, fucking hell, I just realised how close to Rush that is. Fucking YYZ or whatever it is. Sorry, Getty. But yeah. There's loads of those riffs. I've probably stolen them all from somewhere. But when you're playing them live and it's really tight, oh, it's just such a feel. It's such a good feeling. I feel bad that you guys aren't getting it, but you're getting the benefit of it sounding good, but not the benefit of like fucking hell. It's great up here, and I love that. I love when it's working on stage and you're projecting that and you're just getting the energy back. And, sometimes you do gigs, you're not really into it, and you get the energy back and you go, oh, thank God they're enjoying it. All that matters is that the crowd are enjoying it. But when they're enjoying it and you're enjoying it, that's as close to sex as you get with your clothes on. And yeah. There's loads of them. They've got so many fucking riffs. I won't go through more than those. But yeah. It's great when the band are on fire. And this band are really on fire. Really on fire. Such a fucking good group. And again, before anyone has a fucking takes umbrance at me, you're always having a go at the other lineups. I've enjoyed all the lineups of the Wild Arts musically. Being on stage with every member of the Wild Arts has had massive benefits. The people have all brought something to the table. So I'm not decrying anyone's efforts by extolling the virtues of the new lineup. I'm just saying the new lineup gives me wood. Right. Cameron has put in order. Okay, this is a weird one. Put in order Bugsy Malone, Oliver Twist, and Grease from best to worst. Horrible task for you. It's not a horrible task, Cameron. It's easy. Grease is number one, obviously. Grease is, with Rocky Horror Picture Show, for me, the greatest musicals of all time. So Grease absolutely wins. Oliver Twist, I can watch anything that Oliver Reed is in. And he played Fagin in that one, I think. But that would be last. And I think Bugsy Malone, just because it was kids and I was a kid. And when they have the custard pie fight, every kid wants a food fight with fucking billions of people, especially dressed up in 70s clobber. Yeah. And Scott Bio's in it, isn't he? Chachi. So yeah, he goes in the middle. Yeah, Grease at the top though, every time. Ben S. asks, do I remember rightly that Sharon Osbourne sacked you? Can you tell us more about that time? Or if you'd work with Sharon again? No, Sharon didn't sack me. Actually, Sharon wanted to keep me. I think Sharon had seen much worse behaviour than mine. It was water off a fucking dog's back. Whatever she saw me do, she's seen done 10 times better. I think she wanted to keep me because she saw the value of having someone who's the kind of the wild card in a group, especially in a rock and roll group, especially in a British rock and roll group. Someone's got to not cause trouble necessarily, but just make things a little bit spicy. Come on. So I don't think she wanted to get rid of me. It was Spike and Guy that wanted to get rid of me. And again, not saying anything bad, just relaying the facts. When I was called to Sharon's office after we came back from Los Angeles, and she had to come and find me in Los Angeles, and I was in a wardrobe, collapsed with my feet sticking out the wardrobe, and I was supposed to be getting on a plane, so I was sackable material. I bear no personal grudges. I would have probably wanted to sack myself as well. But I was called to Sharon's office, and Spike and Guy, so one of them was standing up, one of them was sitting down, but they both wouldn't look at me. In fact, the one who was standing up had his back to me and he was looking out the window. And I learnt there and then how not to sack someone, And I've had to fire a couple of people from the group, and you meet them and you look them face to face. And if you stand the risk of getting punched in the face, that's just part of the deal. But, sacking people with your back turned. But when they said, I think Sharon thought I was going to get a telling off. And then they said, so Ginger, you're fired. And Sharon was like, he's fired? As in, another chance. Offer him a Betty Ford clinic or something, which I wouldn't have done. And I think they made the right move. I just think they did it terribly. But would I work with Sharon again? Yeah, I mean, I don't think Sharon's really up for working with anyone right now, especially after Ozzy's just done his final gig. I think they both deserve a rest for the rest of their days and just enjoy their time. But I would have always worked with Sharon. And every time I've seen Sharon a few times, obviously through the years, and every time I've seen her, she's been lovely. And she's often made a beeline to say hello. Shows me pictures of Kelly, as he's growing up and stuff like that. I'm not saying we're buddies and I see her every weekend, but she's always been really gracious, really kind, and very humble whenever I've seen her. So she's a good person, Sharon. She's a tough nut, and I think that's a good thing. Especially in this industry, especially in a male-run industry, a woman going in there and kicking ass. Yes, I'll have that. Thank you very much. But yeah, I would, if Sharon was still working, I would definitely work with her again. She's fucking awesome. Very, very formidable. I've seen her make grown men cry. I've seen her when I first went over to the with the Choirboys and we're in a meeting. She just said, just sit there and shut up, basically. And I saw she just made these big American businessmen just weak. She just finished them. She took the bones from the body and just left a mushy mess of skin and meat. Amazing woman. Sharon said there was one band she disinvited to Ozzy's gig as they wanted to make a profit, and it's not time to make a profit. Would you speculate who that could be? I think it came out that it was Danzig, didn't it? So I think it was Danzig, but I think it was just someone wanted to paid a bit extra, which, fair enough. People can't all afford to do things for nothing. I'm sure Metallica and Guns N' Roses can well afford to do something for nothing and fly all the crew over and everything, but smaller bands can't. So I'm sure it wasn't someone trying to cash in on Ozzy. I think they were just going, well, we can't really afford to do this. And, Sharon is not the sort of person that would pussyfoot around in her reply to something like that. But I don't think there's a lot of skullduggery going on there. Phil says, what are your memories? Oh, it's the memory thing again. I've got no fucking memories. I'm fucking terrible. What are your memories and thoughts about lockdown live at Stable living room gig? I quite enjoyed it, but it was noticeable that some band members were hardly on the camera. Oh, and what is that? Just the camera's placement, or was there a reason why? No, it was horrible. It was horrible for a load of reasons. It was horrible because we hadn't really rehearsed for it properly. It was horrible because it was obviously COVID and people were sticking things up your nose. And there's one thing sticking something up your own nose and someone else doing it. And you think they're trying to get to the back of the head. And I'm like, it's the fucking nasal cavity, not the fucking pineal gland that you're after, missus. But yeah, it was just horrible. And then, being forced back to do things that just weren't anything like they were beforehand. And, you'll know that I didn't do any living room gigs. I didn't see anything that indicated that they come across as anything but awful. People want to do them, fair enough, but not for me. So we did this thing, which was effectively a living room gig, but mic'd up. It was in a barn. You couldn't really hear anything. I had fucking headphones on so I could hear the vocals because there was no monitors. So that was weird, trying to play a live gig with headphones on. The band hadn't seen each other for a while. They weren't really that close. There was certain things evident that were going to be problematic that weren't evident before lockdown. And just the whole thing was just awful, depressing, rubbish time for everyone, obviously, lockdown. And things just travelling after lockdown. I really have noticed that people have got a bit more power crazed, a bit, authority junkies. Maybe the joy of their jobs are being affected by COVID. But it seems like anyone in a position of authority, whether that's people in festivals, in charge of stages, in charge of security, airports, people just in airports, working in fucking bars in airports, receptionists, just everyone seemed to be a little bit cunty and just really short-tempered. No kind of, we can talk anything through. Just looking at me and going, you're the devil. And just trying to get through security. And they give me everything apart from the finger up the arse, which is like, I haven't done the finger of fudge. I never would. I'd rather just turn around and leave. But the guy had a fucking huge fucking problem with this. And I went, but it's not real. Yeah, but it looks real. Someone could rip it off your neck and try and hurt someone with it. And I'm like, well, A, they wouldn't get it off my neck. B, they can't hurt anyone with it. And C, well, I didn't actually say the C, but Carol had these effectively weapons, earrings that were just these Ziggy Stardust kind of David Bowie things that were just like a spike. And she got through fine, and I got fucking detained for ages because of her fucking. And you know what? And the guy was like, "Well, I'll go and get the manager." you know. And the manager's like, well, I'll go and get my boss. And there's this big thing about a fucking silver fucking pendant. And you know how he resolved it? This whole fucking drama that obviously they'd started it now. And they were kind of hoping for some kind of resolution. And I went, how about this? And I went, yeah, that's fine. You know, just honestly, bring it in. Just give me more reasons to exercise my patience and my anger management. And, you know, there was a lot of those on our trip to Sweden. Maybe we'll talk about that one day. Maybe not. But yeah, I don't know why the cameras were placed the way they were. Just the whole thing was rubbish. And I think, you know, it wasn't anyone's fault. It was just the times. From Thomas, will the rest of the Wild Arts back catalogue get the reissue treatment, please? Thank you. I hope so. I'd like to think it would. I'd like to think a lot of the stuff, I mean, especially the Wild Arts stuff, because there's a bigger demand for it, but there's still no release of the 3 solo albums with the Jace Edwards mix of Yoni, which I personally want. So I'd like that to come up. But the White Album isn't on Spotify. I'd like that to be on Spotify. A lot of stuff that I don't have on vinyl, I would like to get on vinyl. What would I like on vinyl most? I think probably Must Be Destroyed. I don't know. I think I've got Must Be Destroyed on vinyl. But yeah, I hope they all get a re-release treatment. I hope they all get the re-release treatment with me involved. Because when you see, I'm going to mention any names, but you know what they are, because those shitty Wild Horse releases, just look at the label, them. You know, they don't get me involved, and I don't even want any money. I'm just like, just let me oversee it, write some liner notes, just make it official. Because as a fan, I would like that. No, they don't. They don't care about anything other than making money from you lot, from some substandard product that's got no affiliation with the band whatsoever. I would like to release all of the stuff that's been released by these shitty companies and do a good job of it. And master the fucking thing for vinyl. Because a lot of these people aren't even mastering it for vinyl and they're putting it out. You have to master a record differently than you master a CD. So the quality control is shit. And this is one. It makes me laugh every time I fucking see it. And I think it's got Mad, Bad and Dangerous to Know. That's on Spotify. The White Album's not even on Spotify. And this fucking atrocious thing is on Spotify. I don't even know what's on it. I don't want to listen to it. But the cover is just one of those, you'd get a little kid to do it. Mad, Bad and Dangerous to Know. The whole concept of it is so shit. And they don't care. They don't care about the band. They certainly don't care about you. Flogging all this crap. I just don't buy it. But yeah, I hope it all gets a release. That's the answer to that one. Owen asks, is there something you hope listeners take away from your music that they might not consciously notice? Yeah, words that bury themselves in your head that come back to you at 3 a.m. when you're trying to get to sleep. Words that, you know, are there when something traumatic happens in your life, and you know, this song comes into your head. And as Dolly Parton said, when you're happy, you hear the music. When you're sad, you hear the words. But I like to think that there's a comforting element, purely because this is what I get from great music. I'm trying to big myself up there. But music that I find great is it follows you around when times are hard. You know, it really does offer a hug. And I would like people to take that from my music. Obviously, that's timeless. You could listen to a song, it goes in there subconsciously, and 25 years later you're going through something and the song pops up again. I'd like to think that, you know, in going through the stuff that I had to go through to get the lyrics, those lyrics in turn go to help someone going through a similar thing, especially when it comes to mental health issues. There's, you know, if anyone's heard a lot of the solo albums, especially stuff like Pessimist Companion, that's not guesswork. That's a fella going through that. And when people come to me and say that specific song helped me get through this, I'm like, great. That's exactly what it's about. That's exactly where the song came from. And it's going out there and it's as a continued purpose. That's what I'd like for people to get from the music. It really is all you want to do with music is connect and hopefully help, which is why you don't hear any Iron Maiden and Judas Priest lyrics coming from me. Sounded way too bitchy than I wanted it to be, but I don't write, you know, faulty diddly. That sounded bitchy as well, but you know, fantasy lyrics, dragons and stuff. You'll get very few dragons from me, boys and girls. Hello, Nico from Italy here. Hello, Nico from Italy. I'm a nervous flyer, rightly so. I'm bloody scared and freak out every time I jump into an aeroplane. Any suggestions? Don't fly. I think I decided that on this last one. Ever had a bad flight or a scary one? Fuck me. Yeah, few. What I suggest? I suggest go to your doctor and getting some Valium. You know, I flew with a lot of really, really bad flyers. A few spring to mind, and we just loaded them with Valium, and they had a great time. Obviously, it's long haul flights. You don't want a connection that goes for an hour and then 2 hours, because Valium's the worst thing you can take then, because you're going to be fucking shit. Yeah, take some drugs. It's always the best thing. Ever had a bad flight or a scary one? Fuck me, I've been in some amazingly bad flights. But one really does stick in my mind. I was coming back from Los Angeles and we hit air turbulence. Air turbulence hits and you do a personal inventory. Am I okay to go now? Am I feeling good about this? Yep. Okay, then right, let's enter into the whatever's going to happen next. But this air turbulence was bad. And it was almost like, this is fairly bad. You felt the aeroplane drop hundreds of feet. And I'm like, this is the one. And I knew it was bad because the stewardesses all started crying. And I'm like, this is not just the worst aeroplane mishap I've been through. It's the worst one they've been through. And they do this all day, every fucking day. And they're all crying and clutching under the crucifixes. Yeah, that one was brilliant because you were just like, okay, this is definitely going down. And it didn't, as you can probably imagine. But yeah, when the staff are crying, you know, that's bad turbulence right there. Roland Deshawn? Roland Deshawn? Let me know if I got that right. G, informal, right? G, the first album of yours I ever bought was A Break in the Weather. Your records are very difficult to find in Australia. Hey, fucking try and get the all the way back. Fucking hell, I got some Australian bands I love, or Canadian bands even worse. Fuck me, they're expensive. And they charge more for the postage now than they do for the album. That was the first one I could track down. What abiding memories do you have about that album? The Singles Club experience, and do you think that set you up to do the gas thing later on? In order of questions, what abiding memories do I have about that album? It was just a make the best of a bad situation album. It's got a great cover, David Halen, lovely artwork. I even like the title of the Break in the Weather. I thought it was a nice title. But it was the Singles Club that only lasted halfway, and the funds were pulled after 6 of the intended 12 singles. So it was just a bad flavour in the whole thing. It wasn't what it was supposed to be. It was just a cash in. So yeah, my lasting memories are not really much. I really enjoyed the Singles Club. I really enjoyed, because we were just going in the studio and drinking heavily. Me, John Poole, and Stiddy. I don't know. That was a party trio, and we were just putting the songs down like quick. I was going in and saying, you know, this is a few tins of Special Brew, and this is the song. Bash it down. A few tins of Special Brew. This is the next song, and we go in there and we just do 3 songs in one day. And so, as ropey as it sounds, the vibe was great. It really was a live thing. I really wanted to capture that kind of the essence of a live band. But yeah, it was just fun at a time when I wasn't doing it for any other reason, and it seemed like fun, and it was fun for a while until the powers that be decided it's not fun anymore. We're stopping it. Do I think that set me up to do the gas thing? No. I think Pledge set me up to do the gas thing. The direct to fan funding, I think they could call it at the end. That set me up. I guess the Singles Club probably did set me up to the point where in gas we couldn't not do it. We couldn't give up because we'd done something that was supposed to last for 12 months and it fell apart after 6 months. So we were like, well, that's not going to happen with gas. So it gave us a little bit more impetus to every month be just on it and get it right. So yeah, I think it probably did have a little bit of an effect. But the idea was definitely inspired by the Pledge thing and how successful that was. Let me know if I got your surname right, Roland. Roland Deshawn. Last question from... Whoa, fuck me, that's a name. Dutch Rusher. That can't be right. Dutch Rusher. Last question. Got only one question. Are you still working with Dante Bonutto? Yes. Our first A&R person, and his first job was the Wild Hearts, Earth versus the Wild Hearts, and I'm speaking to him today actually. He's still very much a part of the new thing that's happening, and he really, really believe when you've known someone that long, and they still want to work with you, that you trust their belief. There's no other reason they would be working with you, you know, other than they believe in your talent. And Danny's got so much fucking experience in so many different departments of music as well, not just rock. But I love the fact that Dante was a journalist. I love the fact that when you see interviews with Dante, go Dante Bonutto YouTube. I forget what the show was, but he's just got a sartorial elegance that not everyone shares. And I just love the fact that Danny's always had a little concession to the odd in his clothing and in his manner really appeals to me. I think that's what we see in each other, actually. We're just not, there's no one really like him. There's no one really like me. For better or for worse, for better. But I just love Dante. I love his passion for music. I mean, we can, get on a business meeting and just spend the whole time talking about what were we talking about the other day when we were Blue Oyster Cult. I was listening to Mirrors and just went straight into, was that Martin Birch? No, it's Sandy Pearlman producing. Conversations you don't have with a lot of people, really. So I just love Dante's passion. I love his experience, and I like that he likes me. I like that he likes my stuff, and he's one of these people that compares what I do with the Kinks. Not many people compare things to the Kinks unless you like songs, and it always strikes me as being the highest of compliments to be compared to Ray Davies. Because I'm a Kinks baby. I was conceived after a Kinks gig. And I fortunately got to meet Ray Davies and tell him this story. We did something in his studio which was called Conk at the time. And I told him the story. And ever since then, the other people that he knew that I knew, he would always ask how I was doing. All because I was created by the sexiness of his songs, which somehow got into my DNA, and I'm still being compared to him now. So that was the last. Oh, it was Raw Power, by the way. Before I go, Dante's program, Raw Power. Check out Dante's interviews on Raw Power. Fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm going to do that now, in fact. I'm going to go and have a beer in the garden and check out some of Dante's interviews. Thank you again for another one of these. It's been really good fun. But anyway, thank you. That has been another one of these things. Really good. I hope you like the new studio. There'll be a different one next week. Probably be a studio next week. Or we'll have the whole band together. We'll have some members of the band together anyway. So maybe we can do something a bit more band orientated. But anyway, this has been me. Have a very happy Friday. Have a fantastic weekend. Really enjoy these things. Leave your comments and all your nice messages in the comment section. Click subscribe, whatever you do, all that sort of stuff. And check out, I haven't got an album of the week, so I don't know which one. Oh yeah, no, I'm not. Fuck me, where am I? I've just completely confused myself. Anyway, fuck off. Bye.